there, lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of We the Panel, a Terrace House Podcast. My name's Tim, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, the panel. Our eyes in the sky this week, Cheska. How's it going?
This just in. I am now high in the sky. We'll see next week where she will end up. Back to you, Tim.
Nice, I dig it. We just got news coming in from our Silver Fox out in the field. For Jason Asanas, how's it going, buddy?
Things are peachy. Things are turning a little blue. In reality, I am all right. I'm ready to think about this episode because I feel like we're going to argue again.
Oh, most definitely.
Back at you, Tim. Back at you.
As we can see here, a storm's a brewing. Breaking news coming in from our editor and producer and multi-hatted talent here at We the Panel. How's it going, James? What's it looking like out there?
Well, thank you, Tim. It is a brisk 5 degrees out here in downtown Mississauga at 9:00 p.m. But in terms of James, hello, hi, my name is James. I will be your weather anchor for this evening, and I'm doing all right, ready to talk about our favorite season of Terrace House. Back to you, Tim.
Well, now that we got the introductions out of the way, I think it's time to jump right into it. All right. I'm done with that voice.
But
Wait,
Tim, how are you doing?
What?
Not too bad, not too bad. I feel like this week has been especially long, but not as long as a week that we've seen in Terrace House. So,
Yeah, it was a long week.
oh my gosh.
For
Man.
sure. But
Mhm.
before we get into all things Terrace House, this is your reminder to let you know that We the Panel, a Terrace House podcast, is found on all podcasting platforms. That means it is found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Podbean, all of those other ones. So you can just find us there under We the Panel. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and to like all of our videos. Give a comment if you have any comments on what we say or anything that you want to say, and just let us know what's happening in your lives. But back to Terrace House. This episode 22, titled More Than Just Friends, is quite the episode. We definitely see a lot of the backlash of Daiki and Hana's date. So we're gonna have some good discussion on what's about to happen.
Yeah, we are.
For sure. But as always, the episode starts with you and Tori-chan giving us a little recap. So what happened last week? We had Daiki and Hana's dinner, of course, where we saw the whole thing of Hana talking about all of her guy friends, and Daiki's like, hey, am I a potential boyfriend? And we don't know. And we also see Tecchan and Sena in the house, where we find out that Tecchan may or may not be interested in Hana? ? Who knows? But the episode actually starts in the guys' room, where all of the guys are talking about Daiki's date, of course. And Daiki says that, he thinks that after this date, he might have a chance with her. And there's the idea of, the potential that if Daiki wins his match, maybe he could win over Hana as well. But as we talk about the date, we move over to the girls' room, where they talk about Daiki asking Hana about their relationship. And Momo brought up this really good point where she thinks that Daiki will go after the girl that will like him back first, which is a really interesting concept. But then we move on later into the night, where we see Tecchan and Hana briefly talking about the date. Then Tecchan, which this is such a crazy part to me because Tecchan looks like he wants to say something to her, but at the end of the scene, he doesn't confess his potential feelings for her. And then it hits the intro song. So, with these opening scenes, my question for you guys is, knowing the situation that Hana is in, do you think that scene would have been the right time for Tecchan to possibly confess his feelings for her?
Like, when is the good time? When is it a good time for Tecchan to confess to Hana? I don't
Who
think there
knows?
is.
Not after she comes back from a date with another guy. I don't think that's good
Mhm.
timing at all. There's clearly something else on her brain. I'm sure, like, you know, everybody who has gone on a date after the date kind of decompresses and thinks, like, oh, like, do I really like this person? Are we going to go on another date? What's going to happen? You know what I mean? So it's like, that was definitely not the time to say anything. What do you think, Jay?
More I watch Tecchan, the more I get annoyed with him. And I get it. He's dealing with some things in this episode that it's hard to deal with. But the way he does it, I am not a fan of. That conversation was like, what are you trying to say? Like, okay, what do you like? I don't know. For me, if I was in the situation with Hana, or if I was Hana, I'd be like, why is this conversation needed? Like, honestly, like, what are you trying to get out of? Like, come on. Like, what is that, pandering? Right? He was pandering to something that he wants to say something, but he's not.
Yeah.
Right.
But for me, in my opinion, like, if I ever meet someone like that, it's just like, just say it. It's just easier. But again, it's because Tecchan has a hard way of, like, communicating and showing his feelings. We've seen it time and time again. I thought it was, a learning process, but at this point, it's getting annoying.
He's gotten
Yeah.
better.
Yes, that is true. But like the man has to, what's that word? Execute.
I mean, okay, I agree with Jay, like, especially from last episode. The more, like, Tecchan tries to ask a question, the more irritating he gets to me. And it's just because of how he phrases these questions. And, like, even Hana said it, like, why are you asking this? Like, you're kind of forcing something on me. So what is it? That kind of thing. So
Yeah, like how Tecchan's like, oh, isn't he such a great guy? Isn't he such a great guy? Like, okay, yeah, that's why she went on a date with him, just to feel it out. Like, I know I don't know. The way he's talking about this seems like he's going to a different meaning instead of just being, straightforward to the fact. And we do all know that he likes her, like, for sure, based on that last episode. Sure, he doesn't indirectly say it to Sena because, he's probably like, I hope Sena doesn't tell anyone, but we'll find out later on. It doesn't matter. It's Terrace House, which is great. I love that part.
Yeah. It's been a while since we had like a meta scene like that where we see them actually watching an episode of Terrace House. It was nice to see, and yeah, it definitely plays a factor in how news spreads in the house.
yeah, I mean, going back to James's question, in my opinion, the right time for Tecchan to confess was literally before that episode aired. And we'll get to it later, but yeah, like literally any time before that would have been appropriate.
For sure. Yeah, it was it was really weird, and it felt super awkward between like Tecchan and Hana, specifically in that scene, because like it felt like Tecchan wanted to say something, but whenever he was gonna say something, he kind of just blurted out like some sort of small talk. But Hana, like you could tell, Hana really wasn't that into the conversation, so it was good that it wasn't that long. But yeah, we will move on to the next set of scenes. So we get to see Tecchan driving to work back in Kamakura, which we haven't seen in a little while, where we got to see Kojima and the rest of the crew. And we get to see Tecchan cutting flowers, taking care of flowers and all that kind of stuff. And then he gets to talk to his coworkers about Hana and how he feels like she's drifting away from him if her and Daiki actually do end up together. And, the coworkers joke around and they're like, hey, like, I would love for you to get a girlfriend, but also, I want to see you fail. just because, I feel like these guys are really just trolling him at this point. But back at the house. Momo and Seina talk about how they've been at the house for a while, and Momo's thinking about what she could be doing next. And then Hana shows up, and you can see that like Hana's kind of like down in the dumps. And while they're like talking about her life, she's basically just saying like towards the situation that like it is what it is, like whatever happens happens. And just as like they're getting into their conversation, who shows up? No one else but Tecchan, showing up probably at the worst time possible. And after he shows up, we cut back to you and Tori-chan, and they're like, hey, like we need to talk about Daiki for a second. And they believe that Daiki isn't really showing any good sportsmanship in their terms, because he will only go for Hana if she really likes him. So my question for you guys is, do y'all agree with you and Tori-chan? Like, do y'all agree that what Daiki is doing isn't the right thing?
I agree in a sense.
Yeah.
Basically putting all the responsibilities on the choices to Hana at that point, where that's kind of not fair, because it's like, okay, what if Hana doesn't say like she likes him? Then it feels like Daiki would be the type of person to use that, oh, you don't like me, so I'm not gonna like you back. Why don't you just feel how you feel? And just tell what you generally feel about Hana. Because it's like, at this point, it seems like, does Daiki even like Hana? Or is it Daiki like Hana because he knows Hana likes him back? You know what I mean? Like, or there's a genuine interest.
Yeah.
So it's like you're playing like a dangerous game, like not a dangerous game, but like it's putting all the pressure to Hana, which is unfair, right?
Yeah.
And he likes two girls. What the heck?
Yeah.
Like, come on. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Because I think it's unfair.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
same
agree,
here.
hands down. Like, it's not fair. I feel like, I don't know, the way Daiki's going about the whole situation is kind of like, I don't know, like whatever opportunity comes first. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like you get a call from like two jobs, and or like you apply to two jobs sort of deal, and you kind of wait to hear back from whichever one calls back first saying they want me. I'm taking it. You know what I mean? It's not like there's no genuine, I guess, investment or like interest. I mean, hands down, there is an interest because she's a beautiful woman, right? Like, you know, but like he's got two options, so whichever one comes after him first, like, I'm not a fan of that at all. I don't know. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I agree with the both of you. It's just like he's kind of giving her an ultimatum, like either you like me first or I'm leaving you, that kind of thing. And that's like the perception that I got with like Daiki's feelings towards her. And like that's where I'm like, I don't think his feelings towards her are genuine. And like I just feel so bad for Hana, because like
this feels more opportunistic than genuine.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's my take, but
yeah, like she's just so stressed out from like trying to make a decision when it's not really her fault. It's literally Daiki's fault for giving that to her.
Yeah, like this is why Hana is such a like maybe she was sick in the previous episode because this is lingering in her head. Like this is a lot of like things to take. At the same time, like she doesn't want to hurt anyone, but like, you know, you can only deny what you're really feeling or like how you are, and you could see her like, you know, be sad or it's like physically even making her ill. So yeah, it's not cool. What do you think, James?
Yeah, what's your take, man?
See, like I'm not saying that I disagree with you guys, and this is also not just because like I really like Daiki, but I'm really just trying to think of what Daiki's perspective in all of this is, you know, because, you know, from everything that you guys have said, like all of you guys have been doing is talking about like how this affects Hana, but I'm really trying to think of like how is this affecting like Daiki, because Daiki now knows that it's like, because we still don't know if Daiki's ultimatum to her was genuine from him, or if it was just him like flirting, you know? Like this is all with like the this is all within the thinking that Daiki did this because he strategized for this to happen. But at the same time, like I don't know if Daiki meant to do this to her, because you know, like from what we've seen, like Daiki's a nice guy. Like Daiki's a pretty like stand-up guy, right? Like I've never really seen anything like wrong with him. To me, it's really just kind of the situation he's in. And considering that like he hasn't dated a girl in what 4 or 5 years, and he basically hasn't had any like relationship with a girl in so long, to suddenly having two girls that he's into, that he's like he doesn't really know what to do, that it's like he doesn't really know how to handle it. And in a sense, like, yes, it is his fault, but at the same time, it's also just because like I'm not saying it's not his fault, but I'm just saying like considering what he's kind of going through, it's not justified, but it's just kind of like you got to feel a little bit of sympathy for the guy as well. But at the same time, this is also me just trying to like shoot that different perspective out. Like me personally, I agree with what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
Oh no worries. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but you know, I love Daiki, man. Come on.
It's like, and here's my thing. It's like, I learned this like through school for like my degree. Literally everything you do can affect someone's life. So like whatever like presence, whatever like however way you're gonna say things to a person, it's gonna affect them emotionally. And you can clearly see that with Daiki and Hana right now.
You do have a point. Maybe the fact that he hasn't had any kind of like that kind of interaction for so like at least 4 years, maybe he's lost the touch of, you know, empathy.
I guess so.
Because like I'm trying to think it too right now in his perspective. He just the thing that I could think of is really he wants just to get this over with so he can focus on the fight.
Yeah, probably.
And it kind of makes more sense in terms of making what Tim said, being more opportunistic. He'll just go for the one that says I like you first, I guess. Just because it's easier, right? But which makes me think I think the fight is more of a priority for him right now than what's going on between, you know, his interests with love.
Yeah. So we will move on to the next set of scenes. So we go to the next morning, where we see Tecchan and Sena having a talk, and they kind of bring up Hana, and Sena wants Tecchan to just ask Hana, or I guess like confess to Hana like directly, like, you know, no more beating around the bush, like he needs to just tell her. And then we move on to the girls' room, where Hana and Sena are talking about how Hana joined a new magazine, which is really cool. So we get to actually see Hana. Yeah, she joins Jelly, and we get to see her for her first photo shoot with the new company. And as she's kind of getting ready, she talks about how Daiki doesn't really want to make his decision until just before her match, which is very interesting. And then, of course, we get to see her photo shoot. She's great. She has a great look for it, and it all turns out really good. So then we go back home, and Tecchan brings up the whole night before with Hana, and Hana kind of says that every like the fact that everyone in Terrace House is taking steps towards their careers, but Hana hasn't really found her calling yet, and she's really just kind of taking whatever she's given, and she doesn't really like that, right? And that's kind of what caused her to break down a bit when Tecchan got there. Like that's what really caused her to cry. And Tecchan, being the nice guy that he is, actually gives her some really good advice. He says that she doesn't have to rush too much if she's still enjoying what she's doing at the moment. And then the next morning, they get to go for a run. And then we get to see a Yu and Tori-chan moment where they talk about how Tecchan might have just gotten friend-zoned. And apparently, like in the scene, Hana called Tecchan her bro. And but then they joked around and they were like, hey, maybe Taechan thought that he was getting closer to her by her calling him that. But with all of that in mind, my question for you guys is, do you think that Hana was actually telling the truth to Taechan? So to give context, Hana said that she was crying because of her career. But when I was watching it, I genuinely thought she was crying about her whole situation with Daiki. So once again, my question to you guys is, do you think Hana was telling the truth to Taechan? And if not, do you think it was right for her to lie to him?
I think she was lying. I think
Yeah.
she was lying. 100%.
Trying to
And-
save face.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like that conversation as like she did with Momo and Sena, that conversation was meant for them too, because those are the only two people that she wanted to confide with, right? So obviously she's gonna lie to Taechan about what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And it could be like the girl code thing again, where like you want to talk about relationships with just girls and it has to be just girls only.
For sure. Tim?
You know, I thought it was the opposite. I thought like she could have been affected by her career. You know, I mean, like, I don't. Hana just seems like such a strong woman and like has a strong character that I feel like, you know, Daiki wouldn't be the only reason why she would cry. So like I thought it was within the realm of possibility that she could be also stressed out about work and about where she wants to go in her future. But you pointed out, yeah, she was confiding in Momo and Sena, and yeah, you like pointed out that yeah, maybe her and Taechan aren't on those like terms yet,
Yeah.
right? To just speak about everything. So with that being said, yeah, I agree with Cheska that yeah, she's probably lying to Taechan. And second part was it right if she lied?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's within her right to lie because she doesn't have to share all her feelings with somebody she's not comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. What about you, Jay?
I don't think she was lying per se, but
you
I
think it could have been both?
she was curving the truth.
Oh.
Because I do agree, she doesn't feel as close to Taechan about talking about those certain subjects. So she kind of used the whole career subject as a way to, like, you know, try to get the point across. Like, yeah, things are really hard right now for her, but it's not just fully because of the career. And we fully see that when she talks to the girls. And, you know, she's trying to just not make things awkward right now. She's just trying to figure it out at the same time. Because I already had that awkward situation with Teichan, like, oh, yeah, you're a great guy. So, okay, cool. Yeah, I get it. What do you want? And it's pretty cool of Teichan to give some nice advice. But I felt like he didn't know what he was doing sometime. Or, like, he just said it, or he just answered the question. But, like, you know, I don't think he knew like the magnitude of what that good advice was. He kind of just said it because due to his experience, like it's like how I saw it. It's all right, Hana. Look at me. I'm doing good, and I don't even know what to do. But like she kind of saw it in a different way, which you know helped her out.
Can we talk about how weird he was like, oh, you guys are having girl talk? Okay, let me just sit in. Like,
Yeah.
Not in a room.
Yeah, I could not read a room. I was not.
It was pretty bad. Like,
I'm glad we cut from that scene fairly quickly. I did not want to see that. That made me cringe
it was
bad.
it was so like, oh, you guys are talking. What you talking about? Let me join in. And everyone was like, Taechan, come on. She's crying. Oh, she is crying. Crying about what? I was like, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Read a room, but
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why another reason Hana doesn't
Yeah.
feel comfortable sharing stuff like that to him yet. But it's pretty funny because I do agree with you saying like, oh yeah, that Tecchan thinks that they're getting closer. I'm like, poor guy. But yeah, what do you think, James? Was Hana lying? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like after like listening to what you guys said, like I really agree with like what Jay was saying. Like she wasn't lying, but she wasn't telling the truth. Yeah, I was thinking that like, of course, like the whole career thing definitely is like affecting her, but I feel like this whole Daiki situation is kind of just stacking things upon different things, and you know, when you stack things, like things are gonna fall or things are gonna blow if you put too much in her mind.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, like that was like that little implosion was definitely like that mix of everything. But yeah, like the whole Daiki situation kind of put it over the top for her. And yeah, I feel like the whole thing with not being able to tell Tecchan anything, like it makes sense. Like the guy can't read a room and she can't really confide in him. Like, and it makes me think because I remember before, like they did say that like they hung out like a little bit, right? And like their time together, like they did have some time together. But it makes me think like maybe they were just talking about like their top 5 Ghibli movies, you know? Like
Oh my goodness.
oh, do you think like when
It's-
they hung out, it's just like, yeah, like how was your day? But with Taechan's perspective, oh my god, she loves me.
I feel
Oh
that
yeah.
Tecchan is a type of guy who I guess like has not had very much female attention. That any female attention that comes his way, he considers as like signals of, oh, she likes me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
yeah.
There's a specific scene specific scene where he says that, which is coming up, and when James talks about it, I will bring it up then. But that is like my prime example of him doing that is, yeah. I mean, it was a good scene and a bad scene in multiple regards. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. Sorry.
Which makes me wonder, like, if he ever thinks that, like, wouldn't he feel like that with Momo too? Because I swear they hang out a lot.
They held hands. Remember
Yeah,
that?
like, so because that's what I thought. Maybe Taechan would like Momo eventually, or something would build up there. But maybe Taechan's not physically attracted to Momo. Maybe that's another aspect of why he doesn't think like that.
Quote
But it's just
Cheska.
interesting.
To quote Cheska, Tecchan has a thing for women who have. What was your? Well, dang it! What was your phrase? Is like not higher status. What was it, like more authority? He's attracted to like
yeah.
more authority figures than him, right? Like
Yeah,
Hana with her
right.
outgoing personality, Ria with her Mamba mentality. You know,
Yeah, and like I guess if you're comparing it to Momo, I feel like he thinks they're both on the same level. You can't really see my hands because of the background, but
the sky.
Yeah,
both
that's the
on the
guy.
same level. Yeah, one's
Yeah.
like a model, and one was a J-pop idol, and Momo's just a self-made. What's the word?
No, I'm talking about personality, not like
Oh,
in
okay, in
terms of
terms of
careers.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of personality, like he probably thinks him and Momo are on the same level, where Rie and Hana are like above him. So
Well, that's she shouldn't think that way. Momo clearly has a very has a
Yeah, I was about to say.
sense of it.
Mhm.
The
Yes,
girl
a lot better.
taught
sense
him
than
how
he
to
does.
hold hands. Like that scene alone, I was like Momo knows what she wants. Like
Oh, damn straight.
Yeah.
like we even hear her like, oh, when she's about OG, like she said some of the craziest things. Like, oh my god, a man in a suit is like that line. I was like,
Candy,
what?
Candy to her eyes, something like
Yeah,
that.
like-
A feast
Yeah.
for her eyes.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
like if
Yeah.
Taechan can't see that in Momo, I'm like, man, there has to be something else that you're just not about.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Or he likes girls that play hard to get, quote unquote, hard to get. From what he thinks. I don't know. I'm guessing here.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Tecchan can't read a room, so it's okay.
No, he really can't. But I mean, he's learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't this guy I don't know what to think about this guy anymore.
James is speechless.
I don't know. But we will move on to the meatiest part of this episode.
Yes.
The juiciest part, the meatiest part. But before we get to that, of course, we'll see this little scene of Tecchan at an acting class.
Oh, how can we forget? How can we forget? Our apologies, audience.
I hate
Oh my
you
gosh.
so much. I was ready to jump into it.
No, we have to talk about it.
No, we have to talk about this very important scene of Tecchan
Oh my
showing up to his
God.
acting class, where this guy has to. I think his teacher
There's
challenged him
one line.
to try to move this guy from one part of the room to the other by saying, I forgot what the phrase was. It was like,
Come
Like-
this way, this way.
Yeah.
yeah,
way,
come this way.
Way,
sir, or
please.
This way, please. Yeah,
Yeah.
by saying this way, please. And it was the I feel like the whole concept of that exercise was to like show off your different emotions and like it's like your way to persuade an audience. And man, Tecchan was struggling. Like this guy at first, like he was just kind of saying it, and then he's like, he said extra words, and he's like, hey, don't use those words. He's like, okay, sure. And then he's like, hey, show emotion. So then he starts fake crying, and he's like, bro, your crying sucks. Do another one. And it's just like, yeah, like this guy was struggling to use his emotions. But the main part of the scene was like, we get to see this guy grow. We get to see this guy's career growth, and I thought it was great.
Mhm.
But anyway, moving on to what we're actually here for.
Ah, there we go.
This way, please.
Yes,
This way,
James,
to the next
this
part of the
way,
episode.
please.
Jeez.
Where we see Sena, Hana, and our purple prince himself, Oji,
Yay!
Purple Rain.
watching-
God.
That's like his
awesome.
only scene.
watching last week's episode of Terrace House. And Hana finds out that Tecchan is interested in her. And Purple Prince OG, in his 3 minutes of screen time, says probably the best line in this episode. Where he, once the episode ends, he's just like, things just got really interesting, huh?
We have our new Shota. Oh my god.
He said it not even just like off screen. He literally went to Hana, tapped her in the shoulder. Like, things are getting interesting. Thanks, Sherlock.
God, I love it. I love it.
Oh man, yeah, it was so good. But then we move on to the kitchen where we see Hana and Tecchan, ooh, spicy, talking about what happened last episode.
Oh.
And Hana's like, hey, okay, be straight up with me. Like, what did you mean when you were talking about me? And that's when Tecchan confesses his interest in her. And he says that the things like how he says things like what am I saying in my notes? Basically, he was saying that like since we've spent so much time together, that it's basically like inevitable for me to not gain feelings for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's basically saying that like they've spent so much time together that obviously he would gain feelings for her. And after he says that, there's a little caption on the side that says he might lose a friendship. And after dropping that bomb of his feelings, he leaves to go take a bath.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, no. Okay.
No, go ahead.
To spell out the
If you
scene a
gotta
lot
say it, just
more.
say it.
Okay. Okay. Just to paint the scene a lot more is Hannah goes up to, or like they're talking, right? And then Hannah tells Tecchan's like, but we're like bros, aren't we? And then Tecchan's, but you're not a guy, you're a girl, right? And so she's then that's when it goes into like, you're a girl and I'm able to like do all these things with you, like go out and eat and hang out and just shoot the stuff. And then that's why he's like that, and that's why he's kind of like fallen for her, or like caught feelings for her. And then he's like, okay, like, yeah, because of X, Y, and Z, this is why, like, you know, like, I think, you know, things, like, that's why I like you. Plain and simple. These are my feelings. All right, I'm going to go take a bath. Like,
that's
shows
literally how sudden it was too.
Yeah. Like, that, like, one, it shows his character growth in terms of just, like, being able to just spew out his emotions. He didn't need an answer. He's like, this is how I feel because of these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Do with that what you will. Like, I'm just going to be me. All right, peace. Done. But it shows his emotional immaturity because he mistakes his feelings of being comfortable with a woman for reasons to like them. That's not enough reasons to like them. Like, that feels like some high school stuff. Like, back in high school, oh, because I can be friends with a girl, I should like her. I should be with her. That ain't how it works. Like, you know, there's something more to that than just, you know, X, Y, and Z and the reasons that he put out there. I mean, if, you know, like, maybe he didn't say all of his reasons, because I don't see why he doesn't feel that way with, like, Momo and Sena. I'm sure he can have dinner and stuff with Momo and Sena, even though we've never seen it in the show before. But, like, I mean, if he hasn't done that with them for that specific reason and only with Hana because he's trying to pursue that interest, then, like, no, he's still a baby boy, but not in the endearing way this time. It's like, dude, grow up. Sorry, I needed to get that out. I needed to get that out there.
It's cool, man. It's cool. And it's actually funny that you talk about him becoming a man, because we go to Yu and Tori-chan and they're like, hey, this kid who we thought was just a little dog, you know, the golden retriever, this guy's a man now. He
grew up, like,
and he grew up quite a little bit.
Still lagging behind in other areas.
He's developing. Let it happen.
I know, but like, he's 18. I don't know. I feel like
he's not 18 anymore.
He's 19.
But even worse.
He's
like
19.
20. He's 20.
No,
He's
it
20?
still said 19. I don't think he had his 20th birthday yet.
Even worse.
Close enough. But anyways, we still got some more stuff right here.
Oh, dang.
Because the aftermath of people finding out doesn't stop with those three.
Oh.
We get back to the guys' room where Daiki shows up. And
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so Daiki confronts Tecchan about the last episode, and the big thing that both of them said is that, like, hey, it's gonna get weird. And there's a really cool, like, back and forth segment, because it goes from the guys' room to the girls' room, where in the girls' room, Hana talks to Sena about her conversation with Tecchan and how it felt a little different. And when Sena asks if she would consider Tecchan, we don't hear an answer. So I'm not hearing a no, but I'm not hearing a yes.
God.
I don't know. But it cuts back to the guys' room, where Tecchan says that the only certainty that he has is that he's interested in Hana. And I guess that makes them rivals. And as he says that, another caption says he might lose another friendship. And Tecchan's basically like, hey man, Daiki, you can't be indecisive now. And the episode ends.
Damn,
so,
straight.
My last questions for you guys are, is what just happened going to change Daiki's decision? Will everything that's happened, will it change when he'll make the decision? And my big question is, does Tecchan have a chance? What do you guys got?
Yes, it's gonna change Daiki's decision. Daiki is a fighter. Now there's a challenger, and so now he's probably gonna get really territorial about it. I feel like before, Daiki would probably take his time and see and play things out, because like, oh, they're not going anywhere. I mean, I'm just inferring from his personality, but like, yeah, now that Tecchan is like giving an option, or like Hana another option, then now it gets serious. Now he's like, oh, will I want to lose one? Like, will I lose both prospects? Like, you know, like maybe the proverbs in his head, he who chases two hares catches none. Like, oh, I got to pick now, right? Now it just, I feel like, forces the timetable. In terms of Tecchan having a chance, maybe it was creative editing to create suspense. I still feel like, actually, no, yeah, I will say it. He does have a chance because now Hana has the option of like having a guy, like a cute guy with natural chemistry that she can like wait for because he's still deciding in terms of prioritizing his career and or her and another woman, or she has, you know, like I don't want to say a man, but a man child who has straight up feelings being like, no, this is how I feel. Like, that's it. There's no other option. There's no like waiting around. This is how I feel. Like plain and simple, straightforward. It's kind of funny actually. Yeah, Tecchan I think is being the one more straightforward by the end of this episode, and Daiki still in every which way. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Yes, those are my thoughts.
Wow, thanks, Tim.
Sorry. Yeah. Any opposing thoughts? Agreeing thoughts? Panel?
My question is, do they even... Okay, let me rephrase this. Does Daiki and Tecchan really have genuine feelings towards Hana?
Okay, now that's a
Great question.
Because I feel like
that too.
I feel like they don't. Like, since like Daiki is like deciding between Hana and another girl.
And his love for fighting.
And his love for fighting. And with Tecchan, he's basically like what you said to him, like, because of these reasons, I like Hana. And it's not like his emotion. It's just because like what they do together. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't think any of these ships would sail. Just because I don't think those two guys' feelings for Hana is genuine. And if Hana notices, then she would probably reject the both of them.
I think we all have agreed that we've seen chemistry between Daiki and Hana. Does chemistry equal genuine feelings?
Well,
it can lead to it.
It can lead
to it.
Okay.
It's a great way to start it.
Yeah.
Doesn't always lead to it. That just means they could just be really good friends. Or they just get along as better than other people. That's a great point, Cheska. I feel like Tecchan just likes her because she's the new girl.
Yeah.
I could see that too. I could see that too.
But to answer James's question, yeah, I do agree. He's gonna be more. He's been provoked, and he's not gonna. And he likes it. I don't know. He doesn't like a challenge, but like when he sees a challenge, he's gonna try to overcome it. And now Tecchan is, I guess, his rival. But I don't know, that scene. Like when we were watching it, you guys thought of like, oh, Tecchan's making the move. But for me, I'm like, I thought of it as like Hana directly like had the chance to finally talk to Tecchan without Tecchan trying to run away or like divert the conversation to something else.
Right.
At that point, when he told her how he felt, I didn't think of it as like a confidence move. I thought it was just him being like, you can't escape from this. Just might as well say it. And he realized it and he said it. And the way he like, you know, I'm going to go take a bath now. You guys, I don't know. Well, I guess you guys saw it as like, oh man, he just said it and he left. But I thought he left. I felt like after that, oh my God, thank God I just said it. I was having so much like the hardest time to say it from before. Like Hana just basically helped him out, just showing his feelings, which is great. But like, I don't know. I thought it was just like instead of a 5-head move, I thought I was just like the guy's cornered and he basically just did what he think that he can only do, which is basically, oh, well, I'm just going to say now. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Like, what? Again, it's his thing of saying like he can't read the room.
Yeah.
But the conversation with Daiki and him being rivals, That was pretty cool. That was like anime.
Yes, it's straight out of an anime.
Super anime.
All
Yeah,
my
like-
Haikyuu fans.
Yeah, like the fact that he's like, Daiki, I just told her, you better watch out. Like that was the vibe, right? I was like, where is this guy coming from? I can't read him sometimes, but like, what? All right, Tecchan, are you just this confident with Daiki? But like when it comes to women, it's just like he's just simping. Like he's like melting his like stature. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of chances with Hana, I don't know. We don't see them. Like we only see the on-screen like chemistry, and it doesn't seem like a lot, like compared to like how natural it is with Daiki and
Yeah.
Hana. So I would say no, even though she didn't say a response to when she was asking that. Oh, and Sena asked that. I was gonna say no. I think it's just more the fact that like it was just a weirder conversation then, because it's just like it's out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
She
And,
could have been
yeah.
thinking about the cameras.
Yeah, like this.
Because she's,
Probably.
yeah, right?
This is,
Yeah.
yeah. She doesn't want to be looked as a, you know.
She doesn't want to she doesn't want to give Tecchan that answer through the show the same way she heard about
Right.
Tecchan's feelings through the show. She's probably like, okay, if Tecchan's gonna find out, I'm gonna tell him. I'm not gonna tell Sena for them to use the footage, and then you can watch the episode next week.
I mean, okay. Think about what Hana said before she was like trying to get Tecchan to express his feelings. She asked him, "Aren't we bros?" Isn't that kind of an indication that like that she wants them to be friends and nothing beyond that?
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
But that was before he also explained his feelings. And maybe
So-
the what he said or the way he said it may have influenced that since.
So you're saying that she can develop her feelings towards Tecchan
I'm
after that
saying
confession?
I'm not saying that she can develop her feelings like that, but like a conversation with someone can make you think about it more or contemplate the possibility
Right.
of it.
All
True.
right. And Tecchan has done it before. Remember that time he asked
Yeah.
and it was just like, oh yeah, this is different. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, kind of planted the seed, but you know where that happened, guys? She's out of the show.
No.
But I feel
He
like
flew away. The seed flew away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like with Rie's case, she already knew at the back of her mind that she's gonna reject Tecchan.
Well, because she was choosing her career, right?
Exactly.
Tecchan wasn't worth giving up AKB
Yeah, exactly.
in her eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
feel so bad for Hana. Like she's going through so much unnecessary stress, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the catch with Terrace House. You get a free place to stay, but
I mean, you
Yeah.
know, they don't really know what to expect, but like
Oh yeah.
it makes a lot of sense that like weird relationships may happen. But like to Jay's point, like now that I think about it, yeah, it really does. Your point really does make a lot of sense. Like I thought that Tecchan dropping that bomb and leaving to take a bath was like a power move. But now that I think about it, he really could have been like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go take a bath just so he could leave the conversation. And like as soon as he closed the door, he was like, like, yeah, like it makes a lot of sense that like
it
maybe
could go
it wasn't
both
confidence,
ways.
but it was just kind of like he had to do it. And then as soon as he said it, he's like, okay, yep, I'm out of here. So it's like, oh man. But I don't know. I have a lot of hope for Daiki and Hana just because I'm not going to back up on what I said before about Daiki and Hana and how I
Yeah.
think that they should be together. But like, imagine a world in which like Daiki chose the other girl and then Hana chose Tecchan. I'd be like, whoa, that's
Well,
kind of wild.
I feel like
What do you feel like,
You
Cheska?
feel
Up in the skies, Cheska. What do you feel like when you watch this episode?
up in the skies, I felt like I feel like Daiki's gonna choose the other girl because he's giving Hana the ultimatum, right?
Is he though? He didn't directly say
I
it.
mean, you can sense that he gave her the
But I
ultimatum.
don't want it to happen, man. I don't want it to happen.
Here, no. Here's the other part of my prediction. So Daiki's gonna choose the other girl. Hana's gonna reject Tecchan.
Poor Tecchan, man.
I know.
Taechan.
Yeah, but I feel like he's not pursuing Hana for the right reasons. I feel like he just really wants a girlfriend.
Yeah, I feel like if Hana does end up with Tecchan, I'm gonna get upset because I don't think Taechan's feelings towards Hana are genuine. And I feel like it's gonna hurt Hana later on.
Hana's a dime, and like neither of those guys deserve her.
Exactly. I want to protect her at all costs.
Yeah, Jay.
Wow.
If Hana chooses Taechan, we're all gonna be in the same boat. Like, are you sure?
Are you
Like,
sure?
we have like a doubt in our
Are
vibe.
you
Like,
sure?
Are you really sure?
Like, are you
What?
positive that you want Taechan? Yes.
There's no doubt in my
Okay.
mind that Taechan will treat her like a queen and will
Yeah.
simp for her, but I feel like he just really wants a girlfriend, and he's just pursuing every avenue that comes his way. Aside from
Here's-
like Momo.
Here's my prediction: Daiki goes with the other girl.
Mm-hmm.
Hana leaves.
Yo!
Oh no!
Like, I'm
I
done.
can
I
see
can't take this
that.
stuff anymore.
Honestly, if she does that, good for her. I feel like
you
she
don't need
deserves
this
it.
drama right now, Hana. I don't know. I feel like she's gonna leave. Like, even if she does get even if they are like Daiki and Hana are together, I think she's gonna leave too. I feel like this experience showed her like I don't think she's cut out for this. Like, she's not about this life, the Terrace House
Mhm.
drama life, because it's like physically not doing good for
Taxing.
her.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, like
Take in from last season, the drama wasn't as juicy as it is this season. So yeah, I don't think she knew what she was getting herself into. She thought it was going to be
Yeah.
like a chill thing.
yeah, because that chill surfer really made things
Oh.
chill.
He's never
Uh,
going to leave this podcast,
Can we
guys.
go one episode without
And
referencing?
that is the quota.
He wasn't even
Aw.
mentioned in this episode.
That was the
at all.
quota.
You just
That
really
was the
forced it
Masato
in
quota.
there.
There it is. And let's take it out.
Ah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I want more OG.
Dude,
Yes.
the guy is
yes.
great.
Time.
I thought
feel-
he was home like Momo at the screening. I'm like, oh, it's the girls, and you see him in the background. Wow.
Flawless skin of his and that pretty smile.
Mhm.
Yo, I'm predicting this. OG's a straight up savage, and we don't know that till later.
he
I'm
really could
glad
be.
we have our like boisterous troll character back in the house. It's OG.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him boisterous, but a troll, maybe.
I don't know, man. His his whole like, whoa, that things just got a whole lot more interesting. Oh man, I love that so much.
What if like the producer's like, OG, you gotta say something. You're like not doing much in the show. You have to say something. Here's an idea. When the scene ends or when the episode ends, can you say, boy, things are interesting? Just like I hope not. I hope he's like genuinely like really good.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a good guy to read the room because he literally did it pretty well.
I mean, it was pretty obvious, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the
No.
other one was pretty obvious too, and
Yeah.
Tecchan did
Oh
not pick up
my.
anything.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with Jay. Taechan is like annoying now. And like either he needs to like change his act or I'm gonna start roasting him like I did with you know who.
Yikes.
I just hope, okay, I get what he's going through, but I just hope he's asking questions in a more a more correct manner instead of like, yeah, the way he's asking questions seems so nosy.
Yeah. Especially
like-
last episode with OG.
Forcing something that's not there.
Yeah.
I get those kind of vibes too.
They're loaded questions. There we are.
Right. Yeah, they are.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's yeah. I don't like the side of Tecchan. I feel like it's growing pains in terms of emotional maturity. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I
It
mean,
has to be.
I don't
Unless he's
know.
like straight up disrespectful, and that's where I'm gonna be like, bye, Teja.
I don't think so. The guy, the guy can read that way because like remember what he's like, I couldn't sleep last night because he actually understood that like sure he didn't read the room then, but he thought about it and he actually knew like, oh wow, this I made it awkward for your girl talk. And that did affect him.
Right. Yeah.
So like he can't see that it's just like he doesn't know when's the best time. Or like maybe it's a late thing. Like it's I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably understand it a few minutes to a few hours later.
Yeah. Well, all I gotta say is shout out to all of the new girls that will show up to the house because y'all gotta know that once you show up, Tecchan's gonna fall for you. But
Dang.
Don't say that. That's just kind of gross.
I'm not surprised at this
But
point.
that's kind of gross. That's
but of course, if any of you watching have anything to say about what we said about this episode, Terrace House episode 22, let us know in the comment section. But before we end off the episode and before we go, we got some socials to plug. So,
nice.
Cheska, our resident airplane? Question mark?
Sure, let's go with that.
Where can we find you other than the sky?
You can find me on Instagram at Cheska.
Instagram.
Yes. At Cheska. Well, of course.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram at
Instagram.
CheskaCamille_. My goodness. And then find out next week where I will be at in my next location. But yeah.
Sure. And Tim, our resident Tim, where can we find you, bud?
You can find me right here
Oh no.
on We the Panel, a Terrace House
Hey.
podcast.
Okay.
As well as my personal YouTube channel. It's just my name. You can find that down below. And my Instagram, also down below, right next to the comment section and the subscribe button. So yeah, let us know what you think. Yeah.
For sure. And of course, Jason, our colorful, passionate silver fox.
Wow, you can read.
Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Instagram. I'll be at the description box below. It's at for Jason FERJAYSON, and you can also find me at Twitch at twitch.tv/for jiggles. You like Jigglypuff, but like for jiggles doesn't make sense, but I thought it did in my head. But other than that, yeah. But how can we find you, James? I was gonna say something there. No, go direct because I could read the room. Unlike,
Whoa.
That's a skill
Alright,
to have, apparently. But yeah, you can find me on the internet, on my YouTube channel where I do singing and various other things depending on how I feel. You can find me on Instagram at JamesJT_27. And actually, one big announcement that I'm putting out into the podcast world so it will actually happen. I'm speaking it into existence. At some point in 2020 or early 2021, we are going to have a High School Musical movie ranking where myself, Cheska, and Tim are going to be ranking the High School Musical movies based off of a bunch of different categories. And also, anyone listening on any podcast platforms, pay attention to your feeds because at some point we will also be having a watch along, or I guess listen along, where the four of us are going to watch the first High School Musical movie. And you guys can watch with us. It'll be cool. And it'll be podcast platform exclusive. So if you're not listening there, you better start listening there. But of course, We the Panel, a Terrace House podcast, can be found wherever you can find your podcasts. That is Spotify, that is Apple Podcasts, that's Anchor, that's anywhere else you could find a podcast on the internet. So,
Yeah. And
once ag-
remember,
Yep.
not to forget.
Oh,
I
geez.
hate that
Wait,
so
what?
much.
Okay, thanks.
Usually I plug all the other ones, but you know, I'm going to say that now. I'm just going to insert it
Oh,
right
no.
in there. Remember not to forget.
Well,
Alright.
I'm gonna say that I'm so excited for the High School Musical ranking thing. This is mine, James and Tim's childhood. So I'm just pumped for it.
Disney kids for life.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of them. Like, it's not even like.
And High School Musical, the series. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen
I didn't
either,
watch that. What are you
but-
talking
Yeah, I
about?
know.
I know you
but
didn't
I'm-
watch it.
I'm just pointing out there's more than 3.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. But anyway, just before we go, this is another quick reminder to like and subscribe on our YouTube page, as well as put down a comment on anything you want to say. And once again, this has been James, Jason, Tim, and Cheska signing off. And wear your masks. And Jay,
Sleep warmly.
Ooh.
there you go. Bye, guys.
Bye. Remember not to forget.